No, we're not going to do it on Desmos either. Um, I wonder if you could do it on Desmos. But it's 3D graphing and 4D graphing, so I don't know. The Z-axis and that, so no. Okay, so here we go. Let's just get on with this. All right. So I'm going to hide this. Nope, you don't really need your calculator too bad. Okay. Here's a system of linear equations with x, y, and z. How can we solve this with the information we have? Absolutely, William. You plug in z, boom, right there to figure out y. So negative 3y minus 1 equals 8. So negative 3y equals 9. So y equals negative 3. So we know z is negative 1. We know y is negative 3. Hi. And then we got to figure out x. How are we going to figure out x? Well, x plus negative 3 minus 5 times negative 1 will equal negative 3. Okay. So x minus 3 plus 5 equals negative 3. X plus 2 equals negative 3. X equals negative 5. Now that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay? We're good with that, right? We can handle that. Here it says, use a specified row transformation to change the matrix. What it's telling you to do is multiply row 1 by 7 and then add it to row 2, and we'll write the answer replacing row 2 with the new row 2. So if we multiply this by 7, this becomes 7, 56, and 28. Now if we add, we get 0, 59, and 27. This sets us up for what is called row echelon form that we'll get to in just a little bit. All right. So, what does this tell me to do on number 3? Yep, multiply row 1 by 1/2 and replace that row with what I get. So it's 3, 4, 2. I'll turn off my 70s music for a second. Okay, what turns this one into this one? What turns that one into that one? Will's saying D. Because you're switching around row 1 and row 3, right? Okay. Are we multiplying anything by row 1? No. So we're just switching those two around. So when we switch those two around, I think it's choice B. We flip 1 for 3. I think the answer is B for number 4. We'll look. Number 4 is 1. It is B. So what this means is we're just flip-flopping rows 1 and 4 around. Okay. Okay. What do we do to the first one to get to the second one? Are there any changes in rows 1 or 2? No, there are no changes in rows 1 and 2. Okay, they're exactly the same. Now, on the third one, okay, we have a 0 where 2 was. Okay, we have a 6 where a 2 was. We have a 2 of -4 where a 2 was, and a 2 where a 2 was. Okay, so we can't just multiply this row by something to get that. It has to be something with the other rows. Wow, you're really good, Will. You multiply this by -2 and add it to row 3. All right, so multiply row 2 by -2 and add it to row 3. That would have taken me a lot longer than that, Will. You're a matrix god. All right. So row echelon form for this. What is row echelon form? Well, we want a 1 and then numbers, a 0, a 1, and numbers, and a 0, 0, and 1. That's how we want it to look. Okay? That's how we want it to look. Okay? So, the top row is done. The top row is already done. It's 1, 2, -5. The second row, how do I get 0 in the second row? Well, I take the top row times -5 and add it to row 2. Okay? So, what's the top row times -5 and add it to row 2? Well, we have 1, 2, -5. That'll stay in the top row. So take -5 times this. We're going to get 0. Take -5 times 2. We get -10 plus 6 is -4. Take -5 times -5 is 25. 25 plus 17 is 8. Okay? -25, or 25 minus 17 is 8. Okay? Now, how am I going to get 0 in the bottom row? Because we want a 0 there too. So we might as well do it right now. Multiply this by 2, positive 2, and add it to row 3. So what's 2 times 1? 2 plus 2 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. 2 times -2 is 2 times -5 is -10. -10 plus 3 is -7. Okay, so we're partway there. Now, to get 0, 1, and a number, what would I do to my second row here? I take row 2 and do what to it? Divide it by -4. So I'm going to get 0, 1, -2 for that row. Okay? Now, I want to get 0 here. Okay, I want to get 0 here. How can I get 0 here? Well, because if I multiply row 1 times something and add it, then I'll have other numbers here besides 0. So I have to do it between these two. How do I get 0? Well, I take row 2 times 2 and add it to row 3. Row 2 times 2 and add to row 3. So if I take this, I get -8 plus 8 is 0. So I got to make another one really quick here. 1, 2, -5. And then 0, 1, 2. All right, so I take row 2 times 2. I'm going to get 0, and I'm going to get 0. And then row 2 times 2 is 16. 16 plus negative 7 is 9. And then I'll just divide row 3 by 1, so it's going to be 0, 0, 1. Okay? I think that's my answer. Let's go look. 1, 2, negative 5. 1, 2, negative 5, 0, 1, negative 2, 0, 0, 1. Ta-da! That's my answer. That's finding row echelon form. Okay, row echelon form. All right. Now, in number 7, we're writing an augmented matrix for the following systems of equations. So my first matrix will be the coefficients of these numbers. 4, negative 1, negative 1, 1. My second matrix will be my x and then my y. And my third matrix will be 4 and then 6. Now, that's how we write them out. I'm going to see what the answer is because I want to see how they write them out. Oh, all right. The augmented matrix is different than what I write. Okay, so this is what we're going to do on Monday. We're going to write them this way on Monday. The augmented matrix will be 4, negative 1, 4, and negative 1, 1, 6. So scratch that till Monday. That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay? So now we're going to take this and turn this around backwards. Now we're going to write an equation out of this. Okay? This is your x. This is your y. So it's going to be 2x minus 3y equals 5. And 2x plus 3y equals negative 3. Okay? So in number 9, what's my first equation going to be? 6x minus 7y plus 2z equals 4. 4x plus 7y minus 5z equals 2. And negative 6x plus 5y plus 5z equals 7. Okay, we can do that, right? Now for the last one. You actually are going to put everything we learned in the assignment together, and I'll show you how to solve a systems of 3 equations by using an augmented matrix, by putting everything we just learned together. And this might take a little bit. So, for those of you who won't work on this till this weekend, at least there will be a video recording of this. So we have 1, negative 2, 1, 14. 3, negative 2, 9, negative 34. Negative 3, 3, 7, 20. Okay. Now, I want to get row echelon form. I want to get 1. Okay, my first row doesn't change because I already have a 1 in front of there. But I need 0, 1, something, something in my second row. And 0, 0, 1, something in my third row. Okay? So this is what we're going to do. Okay? So my first row is good. How do I get a 0 in my second row? I take my first row times negative 3 and add it to row 2. So my first row will not change the whole time. It'll stay like that. My second row will become 0. 6 plus negative 2 is 4. Negative 3 plus 9 is negative 3 plus 9 is 6. And then, was it negative? Oh, shoot dang. So then we're all the way at negative 12 here, right? There we go. And what's negative 3 times 14? That's like negative 42, right? So this makes it 42 and 34 makes negative 76. Am I good with that? Okay. Now we're going to take this times a positive 3 and add it to row 3. So we're going to get 0 here. We're going to get negative 6 plus 3, which is negative 3. We're going to get 3 plus 7, which is 10. And we're going to have 42 plus 20, which is 62, right? So far, so good? Okay, next matrix. 1, negative 2, 1, 14, 0. If I divide everything by 4, I get a 1. Negative 3, and what? Negative 19. Okay? And the last row is going to be 0, and I want to get 1 here somehow. Well, if I just add these two, don't I get 1? If I add these two right here, won't I get 1? So add them, 1, and then negative 2, and then negative 6. Then I want to get 0 here, so that's my last matrix that I have to write down. 1, negative 2, 1, 14, 0, 1, negative 3, negative 19, 0, 0. How am I going to get 0? Well, if I take this by negative 1 and add it. So if I take this times negative 1, I get 3. Ooh, I get 1 here. Perfect. If I take negative 1 times this and add it, I get, what, 13? Okay. So because of this, what? Did I screw it up? Oh. So I screwed this up. We're 62 and 76. Okay. So 62 and 76 is not negative 6, it's negative 14. Okay? If we add them. Yeah, negative 14. So then if we add these two, negative 1 times these two, then we get 5, right? Am I good now? Thanks for catching that. Okay, so this is z here. So we know z equals 5. Z equals 5. And then here, this is y, this is z. So I know y minus 3z equals negative 19. So if I know z equals 5, y minus 15 equals negative 19. So then y equals negative 4. This first equation is x, y, and z. So I know 1x minus 2y plus 1z equals 14. I know z is 5. I know y is negative 4. And I'm figuring out what x is. So this is x, and this is 8 and 5. X equals 1. So the solution is 1 for x, negative 4 for y, and 5 for z. Okay? That's using row echelon form and an augmented matrix to solve a systems of 3 equations simultaneously. You know how to check your answer? Just plug them back in. So we get negative 3 minus 12. Negative 3 minus 12 is negative 15 plus 35 is 20. And then so on. So, yeah, we're good. So, that is what we're doing today. Life will get simpler on Monday. Because on Monday, I will show you how to use graphing calculators to solve